What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Next Win podcast with your host, Aunt Ma, co-host Justin Vaseur, special guest who is the lender, Mr. William Wynn, lender in multiple states, California, Nevada, Texas, where else?
Florida.
Uh-huh.
And Georgia.
Uh-huh.
I think that's it.
Oh, that's it? No, New Mexico?
Oh, New Mexico. Sorry. New Mexico.
I know this guy better than
me.
I know him better than he knows himself. All right.
He does.
So,
he does.
In the last episodes, we talked about a lot of do's and don'ts and who are the perfect people when getting pre-approved. In this episode, we're going to be talking about, what is it, Justin?
It is who are the most difficult people to get pre-approved?
The most difficult.
The rich.
The rich?
The rich?
Who's the rich?
It's not the rich. The wealthy.
The
wealthy? Who's that?
Business owners.
I'm a business owner. I'm not wealthy.
You will be wealthy. Like a lot of, I'm telling you this now, a lot of really wealthy people that do what the fuck I want money are business owners, right? Some doctors can get there, like surgeons and stuff, but they have to work a lot of hours. Business owners, they work a lot of hours, but eventually they retire like earlier.
Why are business owners?
Because they're complicated.
Why is that?
Because they have multiple businesses, right? Business owners like yourself, they don't just have one business. They have multiple businesses.
Yeah, I would. Okay, so there's business owners and there's self-employed people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think of a business owner as someone who owns a couple restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah. I think of self-employed as someone who owns just one thing that they do on their own. But then there's someone like me who has a handful of LLCs.
Yeah.
And I know I am the nightmare buyer. And if you want to explain why that is.
I've done this file, so I know. That's why.
Why am I the worst?
Because there's multiple businesses. I have to look at, for business, it's a lot more complicated. I really have to look at 2 years of taxes. There are...
For each business.
So I have to calculate your profit and loss.
For each business.
Every single business you have, I have to calculate your profit and loss for 2 years. And then if you have an upward trend or a downward trend, I have to look at everything.
So right now I have 5 businesses or, LLCs.
Yeah.
So it's like as if it was doing a pre-approval for 5 buyers.
Yes.
So that's 5 businesses plus myself and my wife. So is that like 7 people you're looking up?
Yep.
Okay. Well, bad news. I'm about to start another one this week.
That's fine with me.
So I'll have 8 for you.
Yeah.
Too.
It's hard, but I'll still do it. I think the most I've done, 20 businesses.
Wow. Was that when me and my buddies were trying to get a rental?
That's pretty close. Right? That's pretty close, but it was one person.
There was 4 of us, and we all had handfuls of businesses.
And I was pretty new too at that time. I was like, "What is going on?"
That's insane, dude. Is there any way to make that process simpler? You have to go through each thing. Mm-hmm. Like, what if I do a spreadsheet and I just total everything up?
I would still have to contact the CPA.
Bruh.
Yeah, it's a hard. Not a lot of new loan officers can do it.
I understand why my CPA hates me now.
Yeah, because we had to contact the CPA. Because a lot of business owners are like, "Oh, call my CPA." And then, yo, CPA, we need 2 years of taxes for 10 businesses, please. Thanks.
Yeah, I've seen CPAs reply back in an email with like, "I don't work for you. This is the last time I'm giving you some documents."
You need a new CPA.
Yeah,
that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
How about just self-employed? Like, is that very, very simple process, or is it still kind of like...
If you have a business, then I have to look at it. If you have 1099, I have to look at that.
Like, I think he's asking self-employed, like a freelancer who just does one thing.
1099. It's not as complicated, but I would have to look at your 1099s.
So it's personal stuff, and then it's 1099
stuff. 1099s, and it's calculated through that. So, like, the easiest is straight salary. And then once you get the business, I have to calculate your business trend, how much profit and loss, how much your losses you're taking. Like, because a lot of business owners, like the one that told you about the 20, he got mad because I couldn't do it. His house was like $3 million. He's like, I make way more than that. Well, on paper, you do not, because you wrote everything off.
Yeah.
So
when you write things off,
So it hurts. So basically, business owners, if you're going to buy a house or refinance, sorry, but you have to pay your taxes for 2 years.
What does that mean? Like when people do write-offs, are we getting into like the gray area of talking about illegal stuff?
It's
here?
not illegal because you can still
Because it's justified.
It's justified.
Right.
It's not illegal. It's justified. So you write all this off so that you don't have to pay as much taxes. Because now, let's say your company made $1 million, but all these expenses, after all the expenses, your company really only made 100,000. So you're only getting taxed on 100,000, right? So that also means that you only made $100,000 for your loan.
Yeah.
purposes.
So you might not get pre-approved, right?
At all, yeah.
So what William's trying to say is that if you're a business owner and you want to get approved for a home, do not write it off from $1 million to 100K.
Yep.
Make sure you show that you had a winning year.
Yes.
At least 500K or
I
something.
don't want to see no downward
Right?
trend, upward trend.
And pay off that debt. Pay your taxes
Yep.
for the year.
Yep.
And just bite the bullet. Because when I had to buy, there's 2 different years when I had to buy a home, and I write off taxes, right? Because I can. And then one year I paid 20K in taxes. Another year I paid in another like almost 30K in taxes in order for me to buy a home. And it hurts because I don't ever see that money again. But I won't have a home today if I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So
sacrifices.
That is crazy. So then, to touch up on the last 2 episodes, would that be like a do not do before you buy a home, like write off taxes?
Yes, do not. That would be part of it. So do not. If you're going to buy a home, or because I know all your business owners want to buy big houses, do not write off a lot on your taxes. You need to show you made money.
You can write it off the next year after you get the home.
After you get your house, you can do whatever you want. You can write off your truck, like your commercial truck or whatever. But for the purposes of buying a home, we have to, you have to pay those taxes. We have to show income, right? I mean, there's ways around it, but your interest rate is going to be high.
So who else is a nightmare to pre-approve?
I would say just business owners. I mean, anyone like nurses will be like, not saying the income I think I spoke about, but just their crazy hours. Yeah. Because you look at it. Have you ever seen a nurse's paycheck? Yeah. Like their pay stub, it's just like ours is like, it's like a salary would be like 40 hours, $23 an hour. This is how much you pay. Nurses would be like regular hour, like a variation of like overtime, night shift, or weekend shift, and then just I had to calculate all of that.
So because you can't really prove what is the consistent.
Yeah, and so we had to prove consistency, 2 years of consistency, and all of that.
So that brings up another one. I think I know a person that's hard is someone who jumps from job to job.
Yeah, jump job to job.
Right, because we have one client that has like how many different jobs, like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And why is that difficult?
Because we had to get it's called verification of employment.
So you got to call every single
employer,
company he worked for to say if he used to work there. Yeah. And then not every manager picks up the phone and says, yes, he worked there.
No, they did not. Some of them take forever. And like small businesses, they don't.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
there was strippers.
That's a lot of cash. Can they prove it with all the dollar bills they get?
I have spoken. I'm not going to name names. I have spoken to a stripper before about buying a house. I didn't go to a strip club. Just verify that. As a client inquiring, there are very smart ways around that. But if it's cash, you cannot do it. But you have to show that you pay taxes. Open a business.
So okay, how about people who do cash jobs? Can they get pre-approved?
No, unless this is on like nail people. What do you call it?
Technicians?
Nail technicians. I do know that some get cash, they report it to taxes. And on the paycheck, they'll say cash.
What about servers at a restaurant?
As long as it's reported on your tax, it has to be reported.
So like, for example, there are certain states, like for Utah, where the minimum wage is like $2.25 or something at a time, right? And obviously with $2 an hour, you can't do anything. But then your tips is like $200 a night.
As long as you report it.
What is reporting? Like, how do you report it?
I think there's a special way. I'm not a CPA, so there might be a special way to report it on your GCPA, and then they report it on your taxes.
Okay, so I think I get it. It's paper trail.
Paper trail.
So when you get cash, deposit it into your bank, right? So if you're working a cash job, if you deposit it into your bank every week as you get money, that shows proof that that's your income.
Yeah, we had to have a paper trail, and
Does that work?
I have to get back to you on that. I don't know that one. It's
Okay.
tricky, but I do know that the nail technicians they can put it on their paycheck. That's cash. How much they receive?
Because I have one client who has like almost 200K, to buy a home, but he can't get approved because they either deliver weed or they grow weed, and so they're cash jobs.
Just have them buy it cash.
But there's only 200K home. You know what I mean? They're trying to buy like a 600K home, so they can't even qualify.
There are programs,
Co-signer?
and luckily I work. My new company has programs that might be able to help. So we'll talk off the air.
So, there's a lot of things like that where they do have legal jobs that are cash.
Yeah.
There are like, food delivery services, things like that. Being same thing, like being a pizza man delivery guy.
Yeah.
Most of it is tips.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to figure it out. You just got to sit down with a lender, and if they're good, we'll figure it out. We have figured out some crazy situations before. It's like really in fine print of the guidelines. Like, oh, see, we could do it.
How about like debt? Like, how much debt can someone have, or like, how does debt to income ratio work?
Debt to income ratio works. I think I spoke about, kind of touched base about on another episode. It's really not how much debt you have. It's about how much that your monthly payments for that debt is.
What's a example of a person who has too much debt who didn't get pre-approved?
Someone that has a lot of student loans.
There you go.
Student loans kill. Like, even though you're not making payments, like this, how a lot of people are not making payments because of the pandemic. What they don't know is because you're not making payments, the loan's still there, and when we do the loan, I have to hit you for a 1%. Depending on the normal, conventional 1% for FHA, 0.5% of your total balance. That would be your minimum payment. So I would still have to hit you, and I've seen like deals. I wouldn't say deals, but like potential pre-qualifications hurt because of that. Because I just pull it up and bam, like a whole bunch of student loans, and sure, I don't make payments, but I still have to hit you because that's still your debt. Eventually, you're still gonna have to pay it back. Yeah. So even though it shows no payment on your credit, I have to hit as a 1% or 0.5%, depending on the program.
Okay. So all these don'ts that we're talking about sounds very discouraging for people. The people who are feeling discouraged right now, what do you recommend?
Come talk to us. Really, like
why? They right now they think they can't get a home
because you're assuming. When you assume, you make an ass of you and me. I'm just saying, but right. But it really is. It's like we have clients that come to us like, I don't think we're approved. Let's just talk about it. And we made it work. And like
okay, so with all the don'ts that we're talking about, doesn't mean you won't get pre-approved. They're just very dangerous and might be a reason why. But
as long as you know going in, and then we work it out, don't hide anything, and then we work on a scenario, and we
all I know is that we work magic and we'll make it happen.
We had done so very close, like some of the deals, we have a couple deals like, like it's done, like we can do it, and then we find a way.
What's the most debt you've seen get approved?
It all depends on the income. I've seen a lot of debt.
Yeah.
Well, what's
like
like 100K debt?
More than that.
Really?
Well, I mean, are you including a house?
No house.
Like credit card debt and stuff.
Credit card, business loan, like I'm sorry, not business, like personal loans, cars.
Yeah.
Some people have 3 cars, right? But they make a lot of money. Like they make money and they spend money.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. So I've seen a lot, like huge, like I would say over like 6 figures without the house.
Without the house.
6 figures without the
That's
house.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they make
And
money.
I'm over here tripping about some.
Trust me, some of the I now want to switch that word. Remember, use the word rich and wealthy.
Yeah.
So the difference with wealthy is people that they have money.
Mm-hmm.
Rich is they have money, but
They can't afford to lose it.
They cannot afford to lose their job, and they're just kind of almost like living paycheck to paycheck because they're making $200,000 a year, but they're putting out almost $200,000. You know. So
yeah.
They're rich, but they're stuck. They have to work. Like there's no way around it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of all the things we should and shouldn't do And also, our home price is dropping at the end of the year. There's just so much great information in this. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, or you want us to talk about something, we need you guys to drop it in the comments so we know what you guys want to learn. Okay. Tell us how we've been doing on this podcast, because we've been doing it for like 4 months now.
Yeah, 4 months.
And we want your feedback. So please put it in the comments, and we'll see you guys next time on the Next Win podcast.